What's the Numbers TV? It's your boy Po Ro. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like our video if you appreciate the content that Po Ro and What's the Numbers I provided. Today we back with another profile piece. This one is on GS9 Quano. In this video we're going to talk about his childhood growing up in Brooklyn, New York. Then we will speak about the close-knit community Quano is from and his early entry into the gang and street life. After that, we will take a look at Quano and his circle of friends from the neighborhood that will go on and hit it big in the music industry and become Bobby Shmurda, Rowdy Rebel, and the rest of the GS9 crew. And lastly, we will break down the GS9 indictment, which Quano will be a part of, and his trial, which will make news headlines. Santino Broderick, better known as GS9 Quano, is from the East Flatbush area in Brooklyn. Growing up in this Caribbean-dominated section of the city, his experiences as a youth would shape Quano for years to come. East Flatbush is a close-knit community with many different cultures thriving in one area. Although many of the people are familiar with one another, the neighborhood is still plagued with drugs, violence, and over time became known as a stronghold for the New York City Crips. Not too long after establishing his own group of friends that he was running around the neighborhood with, Quano and many of those around him would eventually become members of the G-Stone Crips in their early teens. From there, certain things that the streets bring started to become prevalent in his life, like holding guns, having enemies, and catching cases. Quano and his young group of friends would lose a beloved member of their crew when Tyree Gary, better known as Cocaine Shice, was killed by a rival gang in September of 2011. From there, the war between the two gangs heated up, with multiple people getting hurt in the process. The G-Stone Crips are one of the bigger Crip sets in New York City. Quano and his friends were looked at as younger members within the gang, but when they started to commit multiple brazen acts of violence and identify themselves as GS9, which consisted of the Shmoney's and the Shmurdas, GS9's notoriety would start to rise in the streets. Eventually, law enforcement would begin investigating them while the gang war continued on in Brooklyn. But no one seen what was about to happen next. As somewhere in between trying to make money in the streets or scoring their ops, GS9 members Bobby Shmurda and Rowdy Rebel would take the music industry by storm and ride the energy of Bobby Shmurda's hit song into 2 solo deals with Epic Records. Things started to look up for Quano and GS9 as they started to travel to different states with Bobby and Rowdy as they performed one of the hottest songs in the country at the time. By summer of 2014, the world was going Shmoney Dance crazy as the record kept blowing up more and more on radio and social media. Many business deals and music opportunities were starting to come in for Bobby and Rowdy, but the cops from their local precinct back in Brooklyn had other plans in store for the GS9 crew. Already investigating them for some time, they released the indictment against 15 members of GS9 in December 2014.
Crew are singing the blues behind bars, that is. They're accused of gang-related shootings and drugs. Cops arrested Shmurda and members of GS9 at Quad Studios in Times Square. Police say they found a bunch of guns at the scene. They have been investigating this group for a while now. The Brooklyn-born rapper is best known for his song Hot Boy.
From there, the usual year or two wait to trial will ensue. Quano will be one of the few GS9 members that will actually take his case to trial. He had been offered a 15-year plea deal before trial started, but felt that was too long and decided to turn down the deal and leave his faith in the hands of the jury. In November of 2016, after a 7-week trial, Quano will be found guilty and convicted of 23 counts on charges like conspiracy to commit murder, attempted assault, criminal use of a firearm, criminal possession of a weapon, and reckless endangerment. Next will be Quano's sentencing in January of 2017, where the judge gave him a sentence of 117.5 to 130 years in prison, which is basically a life sentence. During his sentencing, Quano allegedly yelled towards the judge, basically saying "F yourself" and other obscenities. Since then, Quano has had his time cut from the 100+ years down to 40 years, but his release date as of right now still isn't until 2040 something. But yo, it's What's the Numbers TV is a quick profile piece on Santino Broderick, better known as GS9 Quano. Now, during his trial, certain things came out, certain things he was allegedly involved in, and what they're saying in the indictment is that he was basically a participant in 4 different shootings. Now, in the 4 shootings, they're saying 3 of them he was actually the shooter. So, one of the shootings was a broad daylight shooting in Brooklyn, where they say he got caught on video and everything, and a few hours later, he was on the Barclays floor while Bobby and Rowdy performed at some type of game that was going on. They performed at halftime, and GS9 Quano was on the floor with them dancing, basically being a hype man as they performed in the same outfit that he just had the shootout in hours early on camera. So he's on camera at the Barclays. He's on camera at the shooting in the same outfit, supposedly. These are all things that allegedly helped him get convicted. You know what I'm saying? The evidence that was there, that was overpowering, that got him convicted. Now, once convicted, he was sentenced to over 100-something years. Some people were saying that was excessive. Nobody got killed, even though it was multiple shootings. Nobody actually died. And then some were saying it was because he cursed the judge out. You know, the judge felt the way, had to make an example out of him, which is probably both. But since then, his time has been cut down to 40 years. He still doesn't have a release date until 2048 or something like that, but it was cut from 100-something years down to 40. Now, something that also came out in the paper and everything was that he was offered 15 years. When Bobby and Rowdy got their 7 years and everything, he was offered in that same plea deal, but his time was 15 years because he had more serious charges. You know, an extra 8 or 7 years. They saying once presented the deal, he had a conversation with his lawyer where he was like, 15 years is too long. My life is basically over. And he went to trial. Now, once he went to trial, he blew trial and got hit with all that time. Now, does he think about it? I don't know. Hindsight is 20/20. I'm sure he thinks about it all the time, but does he still feel like 15 years is too long? I don't know. Does he still feel that 40 years, 15 years is the same? Or does he wish he could have took that deal? You know, these are all questions he'll have to ask. Maybe one day he'll have an interview on YouTube or a phone call where he expresses certain things. You never know. But, or maybe he ends up getting home one day. You know, some of his peoples are in a better position now where they could probably get lawyers and appeals and things like that. So maybe one day he does get home, gets to get back to his family, tries to right his wrongs and put his life in a better perspective, a positive light, you know. So like I said, man, this is a profile piece on Santino Broderick, better known as GS9 Quano. Now, we got a few more things to talk about real quick. I want to talk about the members only. Shout out to all the members. We had like another 5 or 6 members joining this week. Now, I appreciate all y'all. Man, What's the Numbers TV? It's your boy, Paul Rowe. We back before you know it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? Email me if you got any business inquiries. The email's in the description. And also, like I said, go follow the Instagram. And don't forget to become a member. It's What's the Numbers TV. It's your boy, Paul Rowe. We be out it. We back before you know it. We out of here. Peace.